Hi, Pierce here. Today I'm going to show you an interesting take on how to upgrade or retrofit existing Lego Star Wars sets you might already have. So, right over here, we have an Imperial hover tank from the Rogue One wave from Star Wars. Now, this tank it looks pretty durable and it seems to pack a decent punch. Like, you have three pairs of laser cannons, medium laser cannons that can deal with some light armor and some infantry, and you do also have missiles. So it does pack a punch, but like it's called a tank, and like it just doesn't feel like it can really have the firepower. Like these laser cannons can really do that much to take on other tanks. Like it just feels more like an anti-infantry vehicle. And I just have so many anti-infantry vehicles just laying around that this vehicle also feels kind of like surplus to requirements and stuff. But another thing you might notice in the movie is that this and in the set they also include these supply crates which carry like kyber crystals, or you can imagine them as supply crates. So you can imagine these vehicles as logistical vehicles or supply trucks or any futuristic supply trucks and stuff, like a heavily armored supply truck. But I already have a supply truck, and like having this much armor on like a logistic vehicle for such little cargo being carried it just feels so uneconomical. So I wanted a better way to use this weapons platform for something much more useful in my army. So I've decided to make this vehicle an assault gun. So basically, this concept is actually from World War II. It carries on from tanks. If you do know, the Sturmgeschütz 3, Sturmgeschütz 4, or Hetzers, they're pretty much mobile artillery support for the infantry. They're not like tanks where they just smash through the lines and just cause havoc. But these are just artillery with wheels on them, and they can keep up with the advance and provide artillery support for other units, and can also take out any tanks. So this role is also known as the vehicle classification for such thing is again assault gun, or to take down tanks is tank killers. So to do this, I have made a gun specifically designed for this task. So instead of these smaller lasers here, I have mounted a larger gun, like a really large field gun, with shields, advanced targeting computers, gun with much higher muzzle velocity, much more punch, much more range. And yeah. Now you see there is a little, I think jumper places they call them over here. And I pretty much made a little pallet plate over here. And I mounted the gun on here. So I can essentially just plug this into here. And voila. We have upgraded this vehicle to carry to increase its fire by tenfold. Now, this thing has great tank killing capability, but there's so much more that you can do with this vehicle. I have also given just wait, this is actually the correct way to put the gun. I've also given the gun the ability to depress, so it has the ability to take down opponents from down a hill, or more importantly, it can be elevated, and the elevation is so high you can even consider this as an anti-aircraft gun. So you can bring this along with your motorized divisions or your tank divisions and pretty much give them some sort of air protection from strike bombers, fighters, and helicopters. Now, of course, having a like an artillery exposed like this just makes it very easy to get destroyed and stuff. So I've decided to add some splinter protection. So we got these pieces over here. Just bring them up. And I can see there's more studs over here which I can mount these shields. This. This and this. So voila, we have some sort of splinter protection, though I could upgrade this even more and make it much more like a greater full coverage, because this is actually, to be honest, pretty limited, but you got to start from somewhere. And I've also to make this vehicle even more deadlier, or to protect it, to increase its armament, the I think the standard version, as they called it, they just came with a rifle, like a rifle, and they just sticked it on here onto like a movable mount, like all my other tanks. And it doesn't have a high rate of fire, so I decided, okay, I need something to protect this tank from massive hordes of infantry. Although these cannons can do great, they don't have like rotation, so the tank actually has to move from its mount to actually shoot infantry, and that's not the best thing you want to do. And the rifle has such a slow rate of fire, like it can only pick off one at a time. Like, you want to keep the infantry down. So I've decided to upgrade this into like a light machine gun. So I can add like a little Technic pin here, a magazine here, and voila, again, you have a light machine gun. You can add this on. Now you have better infantry protection. And this thing is now an amazing assault gun that can even take out tanks very quickly. So to really emphasize this, I can bring up one of my other tanks to show you such the big, like, how much this improved, like, its combat capability. Because if I bring one of my other tank models, like this one right over here, like, you just notice the big gun, like this vehicle can't match the firepower that this vehicle provides. Well, this is a main battle tank, but this thing just literally sits as a tank, and it's like way bigger than this tank. Like, I expect like some like larger amount of firepower and armor, like, as a tank says. Like, it's kind of trying to be a tank, but like it's more like a mishmash of a tank and a supply vehicle, and you try to please multiple branches, but in the end, you can't really please anything. So, yeah. Like, on the other spectrum, but you got other vehicles which I already have. Well, you can make the argument and say, like, okay, this one can take out infantry, like, in bunkers and all that stuff, but, like, I do have like dwarf spider droids or other decently armored vehicles that are in like in a war. You can technically make them cheaper, or they can be smaller and mass produced, or be just as armored and just be smaller. Like, this vehicle can just much more economically or other anti-infantry vehicles can much more economically cover the role than this vehicle. But again, when you add the heavy artillery piece, this thing comes on its own and it covers its own purpose in the army, because like you can bring the artillery with you. You don't have to have a dedicated vehicle to just pull the artillery. You don't have to get like a supply truck to tow down your artillery, which is slow, and it's gonna slow down your armies, like your Lego army's advance. Like now you have this thing, and now you can provide your advancing army with close fire support. And now this really improves the capability of your army, because now like with like things like combined warfare, you can include artillery, tanks, and infantry together. They're not slowed down and holding each other back. They can all advance in harmony to quickly advance on the enemy. So yeah, that's my take on improving the effectiveness and giving stock, like existing Lego vehicles, like stock Lego set vehicles, a new life, and to make them have their own purpose. And yeah, that's my take. Thank you for watching.